Today's episode, we take you down to Nashville, Tennessee, where we find out things aren't always what they seem.
And joining us all the way from Nashville is musician Andy Larkin. Hello, Andy.
Hello, Gunnar. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Now, can you tell us about first meeting Boruch and Sasha?
I used to go to the park and play my trumpet. Sometimes people would come by and listen. And one day, a man came by, sort of guiding a very elaborate, heavy wheelchair, and it was Sasha. And they stopped to listen to me playing my trumpet. And I'm an educator. I'm always like, well, what do you want to hear? What are you interested in? What do you want to play? So, what kind of crazy idea is that? Someone in a wheelchair, and who would presume that someone who would seem to be so profoundly immobilized could even play a trumpet? And why was that my instinct? I didn't know why it was my instinct that this guy had music in him, but it turned out to later be very true.
Now let's go straight to Sasha's father, Boruch, in Chicago. How you doing, Boruch?
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Boruch.
Oh, hi, Gunnar. Good to see you too.
So, Boruch, can you tell us a little bit about your background?
I was born in 1955 in Soviet Union. In 96, September 18, we came to United States with actually newborn Sasha. It happened that a couple of days after he was born, it was found that he has a very serious cardiac defect. Sasha had a surgery. And when we were released from the hospital, he just, thank God, he was able to eat. Just started to able to eat. And he was blind. He lost basically everything what he learned by 4.5 months.
However, I understand he was 12 when there was another accident?
We've been going to skiing in North Wisconsin. So we met actually people who teach us this way in Wisconsin. Fantastic instructors who work with people with disabilities, skiing, incredible. We bought Sasha's boots, and on the way back, we just turning to close to our apartments. We got an accident, and from there, it was really bad, and nothing happened with me, but with Sasha, and he had a C1, C2 trauma. C1, C2, it's just where our spine starts.
At this point, Sasha's now using a wheelchair. He's unable to speak and as well having limited vision. So my question is, how do you communicate with him?
I was saying, Sasha, blink when I'm saying the letter. A, B, C, D. So, and Sasha started to spell for me how he feel, so on. So yeah, life changed. I adjusted my apartment, Olga adjusted her house, and there are some specific electricity things like this, ramp, number of things which doors need to be wide enough to go with a wheelchair. So, and we've been released and we start to live at home.
Eventually things settled down and Sasha was able to return to school.
And Sasha loves school. He actually became really good with computer, really good. For Sasha, it was more like communication because he was able to write something on it, to do some homework, can listen books, radio stations.
And Sasha was still able to type?
He did with his chin. It's not like straightforward. It takes time.
Let me ask you this, how was his relationship with his peers?
They're in a hospital, in a school. Everybody really loves Sasha.
As he got older, you began involving Sasha in your sculpting.
No, I always was kind of encouraged Sasha, let's do some art project. And he had some idea. Sasha was amazed with the space. The Stephen Hawking is his hero. He made a spaceship also. It's just hanged to the ceiling here, and he made a few good projects.
And then one day, you and Sasha were on a walk when you heard something out of the ordinary.
Sasha loved long walks, and especially on Shabbos, with the good weather, we just went for a few miles around, and we're going by Sculpture Park, Sasha in a chair. We stopped with Sasha because Sasha, when he hears music, he has an alert right away, and was really good.
And Andy, you mentioned that Sasha had an immediate impact on you.
I mean, part of being a musician is being optimistic, of carrying a mood with you and giving it to other people. A musician tries to see everything through their art, through the lens of music, and I think you could certainly do that with Sasha. And Sasha could certainly control the mood of a room just with his smile. But he just beamed when he smiled, and your bad mood was not going to stick for that day when you saw that smile.
Okay, so in talking to Sasha's dad, he found out you made musical instruments. And now at this point, you began brainstorming adaptive music devices that Sasha could use to make his own art.
Actually, where I taught, I started a kids woodworking program at the Art Center, and then his dad actually asked me, because he knew that I did woodworking with kids and I built musical instruments, if I could help adapt something so that Sasha could make music of his own. Sasha's father approached me about this project of helping Sasha make music, and then I thought, well, I do have a few skills. I mean, I think I can. I think I can. I'll give it a try. So basically, I took the reins. I started Everybody Makes Music. I made it a real organization so that work got done.
What made you feel confident that Andy was the right man for the job?
Andy himself incredibly musical. He can play on anything, on everything. I don't know if I give him this glass, he probably will play on some beautiful things, I'm pretty sure.
And Andy, how do you approach this issue from Sasha's end? Since Sasha was a person with mobility issues, where did you begin on creating adaptive instruments?
So, to back up again, when you're paralyzed, basically the technician is trying to grab any type of movement at all to capture an input. So often, if you see someone in a wheelchair with a shroud or a surround, you actually have like hidden switches there. So the person, say they're, for example, driving a wheelchair, click this way if we want to move our wheelchair right, click this way for left. But there'll be a series of switches off and on there, just buttons, and but they're basically just input points. At that point, I reasoned that I had enough smart engineering and programming friends that I was confident I could re-rig some of Sasha's input devices and switches.
And this resulted in a computer system that correlated numbers to sounds? How did you come up with that?
So I live in Nashville and have where people use something called the Nashville number system to call out chord numbers. So in music, they say we're going to go C, D, E, F, G, and that's part of a C scale, the first 5 notes. In music, in sort of number system, we would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was learning along with Sasha for how to allow him to make music, and it was awesome education for me. And I really had to dig deep into the art of music and the fundamentals of it. Obviously, there's all the technical victories that we had together and that I had as someone, developing assistive technology, and what I had to learn about, technology in general. But there's also the deep, deep subtext of how do I interact with someone for whom I have to wait a little longer to get feedback from, and how do I pace this, and then more profoundly, how do I just be and wait? Because I think with Sasha, if you've ever had an old familiar friend, you're sitting in a room with them or driving on a long car trip, and so all of a sudden neither of you is talking, and then it's sort of a comfortable silence, as I heard someone once say. I'm here, you're here, I'm glad we're together. I learned that from Sasha. And eventually, he's actually able to play, I think it was Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, just using his lips.
Andy was ready to investigate, experiment. He's pretty open to different things. He'll look all around internet to finding things which he can put together and it will work.
So soon after, however, Sasha's health took a sudden turn. Boruch, if it's not too difficult, could you tell us about this?
He was at mom's home and I got a call. I wasn't even at my home, I was somewhere. I got a call that Sasha is dying in a hospital. Kind of sepsis, which took Sasha for a few hours. He's gone. And we've been going to museums, so on. And then was a shock. Sasha was gone, and it was out of blue.
Boruch, there's nothing either one of us can say other than we're very sorry.
Thank you for sharing that part of the story. Andy, how did you get the news?
I remember working in my shop in February of 2019, and Loretta, his music therapist teacher who had taken over from me because I was then in Tennessee and she was closer in Chicago, gave me the call and said, "Did you hear about Sasha?" And then I said, "No, what?" And she gave me the news, and I just couldn't believe it. I mean, we had just seen him, less than a month earlier, and seemed as vibrant as ever. And not to mention he was just so young, only 22 years old. And just heartbroken too, because he had come so far as a musician. It was just heartbreaking on every level.
Boruch, we understand a lot of people came to pay tribute at his funeral.
No, Sasha was, everybody knew Sasha and everybody loved Sasha. That's true. There have been many people from school. No, my older son with his family, of course. Some of his neighbors, some of his co-workers, many people from the synagogue where I am. And actually Andy flew from his home here to Chicago for the funerals. He just came say goodbye to Sasha.
So I was pretty broken up for a long time about Sasha's passing and pretty angry. All the feelings you have when you lose a friend. And I wrote a few songs about it. And it took me a long time to get back on the horse to even want to help.
Andy, you managed to carry on Sashas legacy through your incredible organization.
Sasha was the foundation for Everybody Makes Music, because prior to Sasha, I never had those types of challenges before, nor did I understand how important it was to make music accessible to everyone.
And if there are other people with disabilities out there who'd like to find a way to make music, what would you say to them?
Contact me at the everybodymakesmusic.org site, and I will gladly connect you with either somebody in your area or we can help you with your specific challenge.
And Boruch, your son, he lived an incredible life and one that's led to great progress for people with disabilities in the arts. So, my question is, if there was one lesson from Sasha's life that you'd like the viewers to take away, what would that be?
I would say the world is great. The world life is great. I still not getting how Sasha was so positive, full of love, interesting things around. I mean, in his condition, just enjoy life, do the best you can, and this is and still be thankful for what we have.
Timing is everything. It takes just one person to make a difference.
And music is the universal language.